newspapers in this country, they refused to run the point spreads because they did not want to be associated with gambling, right?
Yep.
Now, all of a sudden, the leagues have said, after they said, no, we stay away from this, they're all embracing the gambling.
Everybody talks about the point spread when they're talking about the games.
Because it's what everybody's doing.
That's what I want to. That's what I care about.
All right, there you go. So the first thing that grabs my attention is LeBron is campaigning for Vegas, and if I didn't know better, I think does he just want a team in Vegas so that he has an excuse to live half the year in Vegas just because he loves Vegas? Maybe.
I mean, Skip, Vegas to LA, Vegas to LA is better than LA to Seattle.
You got that right. The other thing that surprises me is LeBron is so powerful. He's obviously the most powerful player in the NBA. He's the face of the NBA. He's so connected. I'm sure he's got open lines of communication to Adam Silver, maybe on almost a daily or at least weekly basis.
Yeah.
That it surprises me that he feels compelled to have to campaign publicly instead of just campaigning privately.
We're doing that also.
Okay, well, does he need to put public pressure on Adam Silver? I don't know, because it would seem like that would be the wrong thing to do, because that's the one guy you don't want to publicly goad about, give me a franchise in Las Vegas, right?
Skip, you know how these things work. They go into the highest bidder. And unfortunately, Skip, I know they would love for LeBron to be an owner, but at the end of the day, those other 29 owners, with 30 owners, it would be 31, 32 teams if they expand to 2 teams. They're like, we're going to the highest bidder. That's where that's going. We're going to the highest bidder.
First of all, I think Seattle has a leg up on Vegas just because the NBA still feels shame that they had a team and it was taken from them, and it wound up in my city. To my shock, the Thunder became.
I agree with you. I do believe Seattle has a leg up.
Okay, all right. Would I love to see LeBron own a basketball team, an NBA team? Sure, I would. I think he'd be I think he'd be a great owner.
Yes.
It also raises the question, would he then insist upon being the GM the way Jordan has insisted to his detriment on being the GM? I can't say this for a fact, but the history would tell you LeBron wouldn't be a great GM. It's just hard. You have to be completely removed. The greater the player, the harder it is to know who can play, because none of them are going to be as good as you were. None. Zero. You're just, the odds are, if he owns a team in Vegas for 20 years, that for 20 years they'll never be a player as good or better than LeBron James. Okay, so that's his problem. He looks around like, why can't they do what? Because they're not.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Right. So that's the problem. But I don't know that. I would think his inclination would be he would want to be involved in the basketball operation.
Well,
is that fair?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably so.
All right. And that could be to his detriment. The final piece of the puzzle is LeBron is a billionaire. He is north of a bill.
Right.
It's not a milli, it's a billy.
Right.
But you got to go find some deeper pockets than yours, because the Nets 3 years ago went for 2.35. I think you just said that. 2.35 billion? Okay. Well,
and they talk about what the Suns are going to go north of $2 billion.
For sure.
So.
Okay. So can you go find? I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Because, Skip, he's with the guys that the Red Sox and Liverpool. So he has, and they've invested in some other things. And so he has the right investment group, to go out and to raise the money in order to get a franchise.
Because not knowing his finances, but I don't think LeBron is in position to become the majority owner of this, right?
No.
So he would have to give up the majority ownership to others, right? Mm-hmm. So he would be an owner, he just wouldn't be the owner.
Maybe, like I said, be a situation like Jordan. Jordan was a minority owner. And then when the owner sold, Bob Johnson, he bought the lion's share. I think Jordan's, 60-70% now of the ownership group. So that's maybe what LeBron can position himself to do. That's what he's wanted, Skip. That's what he's always wanted to do. He's like, 10 years ago, he was talking about ownership. And here we are. And it looked like it might come to fruition. I hope so.
But when you talk about Michael Jordan, we hark back to the great Spike Lee as Mars Blackman in the commercials, the Nike commercials.
Yeah.
It's got to be the shoes. Well, with Jordan, it's got to be the shoes, because that's the only way he was able to buy the franchise out from under Bob Johnson, the Bobcats as they used to be known, right? Was the shoes. Well, LeBron doesn't have that kind of money.
Well, the thing is, Skip, he's going to have revenue. I mean, he signed the $1 billion deal with Nike, so he's going to have probably, 40, 50 million per year coming in for that. He's going to be able to align himself with other people and with his investments. His Spring Hill company, they're doing a lot of TV shows. They're doing movies.
Yeah,
so, Skip, his income is going to continue. Now, how soon can he be in line to like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to take over, 60%, 70% of the ownership group? I don't know. But I just know that he'll be in line to be a minority owner, probably take, 500-600 million. I'm sure he can, give him a line of credit for that. Yeah. Unless you these Walmarts that got 60 billion, or you Steve Ballmer that got 80 billion dollars, Skip, that you can like, okay, I'm good. I'll cut you a check. How much you say? Oh, my guy got the check in his briefcase right now. He cut you a check right now. There are very few people, Skip, that can cut those kinds of checks.
Very few. I believe you made the best point and asked the best question right out of the box. How soon would LeBron be willing to give up playing to undertake owning in the NBA? And I got to tell you, the way he looked last night, I'm not sure that's any time soon that he wants to stop playing, because he looked Brady-esque last night. I know the sports are very different,
right,
but Tom's going at 45, and I don't know. I'm not sure, but what he's going to play until he's 50.
Man.
But this guy is 37, going on 38 on December 30th. But could he play 3 more? Sure, he could.
What about this, Skip? Okay, we were about to give a franchise. Vegas, you're on the clock. 23-24. Bronny coming to the NBA. Now, they're going to change the rules. That's probably not going to happen until before the new CBA takes place. So what? Okay, the ownership group in Vegas or playing with Bronny?
It's a hard call.
I
think he would. As much as he's campaigning to be an owner.
He played with Bronny.
But he might have to wait until the next team comes up,
right,
and it might not be a Vegas-based team.
Right.
Right?
I agree with you. I think it's going to be Seattle. Because, like you said, Seattle, they've had a team before. It seems to me that they're clamoring for a team. They just got the Kraken. They just got a hockey team up there. Yeah. They got, the Mariners are up there. So I think it's only Seahawks, obviously. Yeah, I think it's going to be Seattle. I think it'll be Seattle and then Vegas. I think Vegas is at least 5 years away.
Yeah, it's funny. Right now, they're almost campaigning against each other because they're playing preseason games in Seattle, and now tonight another preseason game based in Vegas.
I loved the Sonics back in the day, guys.
Yep.
It would be phenomenal to see Seattle get another team.
Dennis
All right,
Johnson,
moving
Gus,
on.
Jack
Do you
Sigma.
gentlemen have predictions about where OBJ is going to land once he signs somewhere? Because, hey, Von Miller says he knows exactly where OBJ is going. We'll tell you where on the other side of this break.
Give me a call and tell me, Vaughn.